Hey everybody, Kyle Porter here. Super excited about this presentation. Super excited to have you here listening to me. It's an honor and a privilege. If you're here today, you're here to learn more, you're here to do more, and you're here to become more, and that excites me. So let's get started on the webinar. We're going to talk today about how to set 3 times more appointments. The title of this presentation is Rhythm, Cadence, and Social Selling. So let's begin. This is me. For those who don't know me, my name's Kyle Porter. I'm the founder and CEO of SalesLoft. And that little thing in the middle is my 1-year-old baby girl, Brooklyn, and my wife on the left, April. We live in Atlanta, Georgia, and spend half of our time between Atlanta, Georgia, and fun fact, we spend the other half of our time in Florida on our tangerine farm. So this is the tangerine farm. They ripen in the fall, so we're ready for a good harvest coming up this year. If you're interested, send me an email. Maybe we'll send you a box of fruit. The reason I'm here today is that I love selling. It runs in the family. That's little baby B on the phone. But I founded and have grown SalesLoft from up to 70 employees over the last 3 years. And, quite frankly, we started a company with the name sales in it. So really interested in this topic. I've written hundreds of articles. We've got over 1,700 clients now. That number's a little bit low. And we've raised $10 million. We're the fastest growing technology company in the state of Georgia. So let's begin. We're talking today about social selling. And really the first question is, who is the one doing the social selling? And, one answer would say that everybody involved in a revenue generating organization can be involved in social, can be involved in attracting clients, connecting with people. But I'll tell you, there's one team that really should be narrowly focused on it, and that team is the sales development team. This is the SalesLoft sales development team a few months ago. It's since grown another 30% or so. But sales development is this newly emerging field. It's really the biggest innovation to happen to the sales process over the last decade. So let's talk about what sales development is. Just as a primer for those of you who don't know, the sales development rep is different than the account executive in that they're on the front end opening up the opportunities so that the account executives can focus on closing. So SDRs, what are they doing? They're building lists of prospects. Of course, that's where social comes into play. Social is a great place to find prospects. They're calling, they're emailing, they're reaching out and touching these prospects in multiple mediums, social being a great version of that. They're using prospecting tools, and they're really uncovering and qualifying the right prospects so they can pass them over to the AEs. Now, the AEs are connecting when there's already a relationship. There's an engaged potential buyer ready to explore your solution, and they're diving in deep, uncovering their scenarios. They're asking them questions to understand their goals and objectives. They're negotiating the terms and putting together a plan that makes sense. Now, they may be touching those prospects over a period of multiple engagements, and social can come into play heavily there. But really, the point is that SDRs on the front end, prospectors, those are the ones who are most focused on social. And so that's where we're going to get the bulk of our value with social selling. And that's why we're here to talk to you about how SDRs use social to get ahead. But before we do that, let's ask a big question that's probably on a lot of people's minds. Why does it even matter? Why does it even matter to focus on the front end, to focus on this SDR model, on using social to engage with prospects? Well, it matters for one big reason. It matters because when you set qualified appointments and count them, on the left-hand side is the number of demos completed at SalesLoft over the last previous year. On the bottom is month to month to month. But when you set demos, look what happens. When you set demos, you generate revenue. So these two things are entirely in line. Look at that chart. They have the exact same growth pattern. Now, we stopped doing this chart after our Series A financing, so it doesn't have any of the fresh and up-to-date revenue numbers, but you can see here, set more demos, get more deals, period. Let's talk about some statistics. In sales development, it takes 18 dials to connect with your prospect. Can you believe that? This information is coming straight off a Topo report. If you don't subscribe to Topo or haven't checked them out yet, it's an amazing company, Topo. I highly recommend you check them out. Look at this. Sales emails not being opened either, right? And so here's what's going on is we're reaching out to prospects via email. We're reaching out via prospects via phone. And guess what? They're not always getting connected. So that's why social is going to play a part. That's why we're going to talk about social as part of the prospecting process. All right. So here we go. We're talking about on the front end of selling. We're talking about using social to build lists of leads. Let's talk about the industry of prospecting and how data is collected today. There's this legacy data industry out there. It is the industry that many of us know. We've been using it for years. These are the list brokers. These are the list vendors. These are the companies that sell us data. They collect that data. They try to keep it fresh. And then they deliver it to us and charge us big bucks for it. Now, I don't like that one bit. If I took a list of everybody who's sitting and listening to this webinar today, every single one of you, and I had your first name, last name, company name, email, phone number, if I had all that information, in 2 days, some of that information is going to be inaccurate. In 5 days, more of it's going to be inaccurate. In 6 months, a ton of it is going to be inaccurate. And what we're doing here is we're creating this stale, non-targeted, inaccurate database that we can't keep fresh, and then we're trying to sell that. And so what's happened is these legacy data providers are on the outs. Anyone who wants to build a targeted, accurate, up-to-date, and fresh list of leads is moving on to a new source of information, and that source of information is the social web, it's Google results, it's company web pages. It's the things that update on their own. Think about it. All the people on this webinar right now, you're listening in. If you get a promotion, you were a director one day and now you're the VP, you better believe you're going to go to your LinkedIn profile and you're going to make that update. You want people to see that you've been promoted. If you move from one company to the next, quite frankly, if you don't update your profile, you're actually lying, right? In today's social internet, there is pressure around keeping your profile up to date, and that's good news for us because we're going to use the social web to build the most accurate and targeted lists of prospects. Now, I'm not going to talk much about what we do here at SalesLoft. The company's growing very rapidly. We served over 1,600 sales development teams, and the first thing we ever created was a way to build lists of prospects. Now, there's a couple of different vendors out there. We urge you check them all out, but what these vendors are going to do is they're going to allow you to create a real-time first name, last name, company name, title, bring in email addresses, phone numbers, pull this all off the social web. Simple, easy, in your browser through a Chrome extension, so you no longer have to deal with the out-of-date, stale, and not fresh contacts that come from these legacy data providers. We got a free version of this product. You can check it out online at salesloft.com/prospector. But like I said, there are a bunch of other vendors that are doing some similar stuff. We recommend you check all of them out and pick the best one for your business that will allow you to get the accurate and targeted contacts you need to connect with the people you're looking to connect with. Now let's talk about email. So once we've generated this list, we've got to reach out to these folks. How are we going to reach out to them? Well, the first thing is email. Sales email has taken off. Back in the old days, I think phone was the primary objective of an outbound outreach team, but sales emails have certainly made their mark, and I think they're super important in the outbound outreach sales development process. So let's talk about sales email. There are a couple things that people are doing with sales email that they must stop doing. The first one is they're using marketing automation systems or transactional email systems to send these bulk emails out, and you cannot do that. You absolutely cannot use a bulk, non-personal email system to send your personalized, important, and targeted sales development email. So look to the sales development marketplace. There's a number of vendors on the market, but what they do, what the best ones do, is they let you integrate with your own email system. So now when you wake up in the morning, you want to send those 50 emails, those 50 outbound emails, you got a couple of options. You could spam blast through marketing automation or email marketing system. We already understood why that's a bad idea. Or you can go one-to-one in your own email system, whether that's Microsoft Outlook, or whether that's Google Apps. You can open up, hit the compose button, copy and paste. You might even be able to use some template widgets to drop in, drag over your contacts, send after send after send, making sure you log to CRM. There's a few tools that help you do that, but you're basically bringing all these things together to try to do it manually Let's stop doing that and let's move on to one of the sales development rep email tools. This is from a Topo report on the right-hand side. Most used vendors, Yesware, ToutApp, SalesLoft, Cadence. This is our tool, and then Outreach, and then some other ones. HubSpot's got a tool, Celigy, Boomerang, Close.io. So there's a bunch of different vendors on here. Again, we recommend you check them all out and go with the one that's best for your business. But here's what we recommend. Find one that allows you to manage the outbound process. Who's getting what emails? Who's already opened? Who's already replied? Create your templates, manage replies. We do manage replies at the server level, not the pixel level. You want to be able to execute on a fully engaged, personalized outreach campaign using the best tools. So now, when you hit send, systems will track clicks. They'll track replies. They'll take the people who replied off of your process or your cadence so that you can follow up with the next most important thing, which is phone calls. So we want to reduce manual labor, but we want to maintain that personalization and sincerity. That's what you'll remember with sales email. Maintain sincerity. That's the most important piece. Now we're going to move on to phone calls. Okay, so now we got to get our prospects all different types of ways. Sometimes the email doesn't work. Sometimes they don't reply. Let's pick up the phone and call all prospects, but let's do it using a sales development tool. You might have heard of some of the popular products out there. InsideSales.com has one. Velocify has one. Well, now there's a new version of sales development tools that are doing phone as well. And what we want to do is we want to have execution so that we don't have to click each person's phone number. We don't want to have to decide who to call and punch it into a phone. We want to integrate it with our email tool so that after the emails go out, now we're clicking a button and the phone calls go out. Using things like local dial so that when you call someone from New York City, it comes up as a phone number from New York City. When you call someone in Texas, it comes up with the area code of Texas. Looking at automatic voicemail drops, power dial, all these things should improve your process, allow you to keep your sincerity at scale, allow you to connect with more people, and allow you to save time and eliminate all these non-revenue producing action items that you've been taking. Cool. Now, we're here for the meat of the discussion. We've talked about list building. We've talked about emailing. We've talked about phone calling. But we're here today to talk about social. So let's talk about how sales development reps are integrating social selling into their repertoire to make sense of this game. Here we go. Okay. So now, social is a gigantic piece to the sales development outreach platform. When I started this business in 2011, the first thing I started doing is looking at the people that I wanted to reach out to and seeing what they talked about on the open web. When they talked about something interesting, I would favorite, retweet, like. I'd copy notes from the things they were saying and make them into subject lines for my outbound emails. There's a lot of things you can do with social that we're going to talk about today. Okay. So the first one is, let's talk about Twitter. I want to talk about a philosophy around Twitter and what you should be doing with this system. So when we talked about prospecting, we talked about finding the list, so building your list through social, right? You can use LinkedIn to do that. You can use Twitter to do that. There's a bunch of different tools to help you build those lists. Now, once you have those people, you should have their first name, last name, company name, title, email address, phone number, and social profiles. What I want you to do is engage in your outbound email campaign, sending your emails. Then I want you to engage in your phone call campaign, making your phone calls. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to find these prospects' Twitter accounts and do something special. Let's add them to a specific list that we've built in Twitter, such as VIPs of prospecting. If I'm calling on VPs of sales development, then I want you to create a VIP sales development list and put those people on that list. They're going to love it. They're going to get a note saying you've added them to the list. They're going to remember that. They're going to now notice when you email, when you phone call, and that touch point is going to resonate. It's going to resonate more with the people who are on Twitter more often, but I bet you it resonates with almost everybody who's on there. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to look at their tweets, review them. Look at the ones that matter, the ones that are relevant. I want you to favorite the ones you like. Click that little star button in the bottom right-hand corner. You know what happens the minute you do that? The minute you do that, they'll get a little alert that says you favorited their tweet. Now you're going to like that because that's just another drip point to that person. You can review their tweets, and if you like one, you can hit the retweet button. Now you can reply, and you can mention them. So there's all these things you can do, but I want you to do it to the people you're already calling and already emailing. We want to surround them from all angles. And the last thing you need to do, you need to be able to log these actions inside your CRM. The reason we're doing that is because when we come back later, we want to be able to measure. Here are the prospects we called and emailed. Here are the prospects we called, emailed, and hit up on Twitter. Or here are the prospects we just added to a VIP list. Here are the prospects we just starred or retweeted. So when you add these action items into your CRM, it makes it a whole lot easier to move the needle and understand the data and analytics behind what you're doing. Now, there are a few products that help you accelerate some of this stuff. The recommendations here are that these products also integrate with your email tools, with your phone mail tools, with your CRM system so that you can maximize the way that you're reaching out to these people. Cool. So we've talked about Twitter. Now let's talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is oftentimes a place where you get prospects. Everybody knows that. But how are you engaging with these folks as well? One of the big recommendations is while you're emailing, while you're phone calling, at the least, you need to check out their LinkedIn profile. The reason is that you're going to be dropping a view on that profile so that the next time they log in, they see that so-and-so viewed their profile. Another thing you're going to get from that is you're going to get the ability to personalize the email, right? You're going to get the opportunity to personalize that message that says, hey, I'm interested in connecting with you, but I know about you because I just read your LinkedIn profile. So these are a few of the things that you need to pay attention to when you are engaging in prospects via social networks. And the big piece is be personal, be real, do it in a streamlined, process, cadence-oriented way, and then make sure that you save this information so that you can analyze it later. Cool. So we're dancing around this topic of the process, right? One of the things I noticed when we got into this business, we started the company 2011. Our first product was a list building product. It grew extremely rapidly, but then we were left with all these contacts, but not these ways to reach out to people. So we started diving into our sales development process. And the big thing that we understood was that these tools are tough. There's so many different ones that do so many different things. We need to consolidate those into one system, and we need to build a lot of process around that system. The second thing we talked about already was that with email systems, there's a lot of spam. A lot of times with robot dialers, there's a lot of spam as well because you've got this huge list and you're not able to stand personalized. And then in the last slide, we talked about adding all your information to CRM so that you can measure it and get metrics. So I want to walk through a sales development process for you that would make a lot of sense. Here's an example. What you'll see here is that we want to take a number of different touch points and we want to engage them all in a routine so that we can maximize the percentage of people we drop in the top of the funnel with the percentage of people that we convert into qualified prospects. So here's an example. On day one, I might send my template one, and you can find this stuff on the internet. We leave it on our blog, but we've got a lot of this stuff kind of already written out. But on day one, we want to send our email template one. This email template goes out the door through your sales development email tool and tracks the links, tracks replies. And then later in the afternoon, we want to call all the people who did not reply to the message. You get that? All the people that did not reply to the message, we want to leave an automated dropped voicemail. We want to pre-record, 3 voicemails, and then hit a button to drop one of those specific voicemails so that we can get through our calls a lot quicker. And then we can also measure which voicemails were most successful. But we want to make that call. We want to have our script. We want to have the information about our prospect already. We can get it from LinkedIn. This information helped us tweak the email in a rapid-fire fashion. and it helped us when we got them on the phone to connect personally. But let's say that they don't answer email 1, they don't answer the phone of voicemail 1, and they don't reply. Then we want to come in the next day, find the people who are available on Twitter, and add them to that VIP list. We want to look through their tweets, and we want to make a phone call. Now, we're not doing automated voicemail on this phone call. We're leaving a personal voicemail. We may even reference something we found in that Twitter account. Then we're going to call them a couple more times. We're going to email them. We're going to go on social, look at retweets, favorites, stars, and mentions. Now, we're going to keep things casual and social. We're just trying to engage and connect. But over time, we're going to get a little bit more serious about our outreach so that we ensure the best opportunity to connect with our prospects and make sense of the matter. Cool. All right. So that's the end of the presentation. But I do have a few questions that have come in that I'd like to answer that would help you maybe in your engagement here. The first question is, how do I decide when to personalize my outreach? And I love this question. This is a super important question. We get it all the time. People are, they want to go fast. You want to connect with as many people as you can. Let's talk about the goal. The goal in sales development is twofold. One is you want to set up as many qualified appointments as you possibly can, but you also want to make sure that you're not muddying the waters of your prospect universe. So think about this. If you had 10,000 people in your prospect universe, you could spam the living crap out of those 10,000 people in one day, and you might get a lot of prospects convert to qualified appointments in that first email on that first day. But what's going to happen to those prospects over the next couple weeks or the next month or so? Right? Think about it. You are spam blasting these prospects, and you're going to lose the goodwill from the relationship that you have with them. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about this metric. I want you to think about the percentage of people you drop in the top of the funnel that you're able to convert to a qualified appointment. Right? So I'd much rather drop 1,000 in and set 100 qualified appointments than drop 10,000 or 100,000 in to set those same 100 appointments. The reason is that you leave your prospect universe available for you to connect with them. So that's what I want to talk to you about. Okay, now the question was about personalization. Personalization always yields better results on an individual basis. But the problem with personalization is it's hard to do in sequence and at scale. So a few things that are important here. One is the size of the deal. The bigger the size of the deal, the more important it is for you to personalize your message. The second one is the size of your prospect universe. The smaller your prospect universe, the more important it is to personalize your outreach. And the third is, and this is one that people don't think about, is how much of a long-term game plan do you have? If you're just trying to hit this quarter's numbers and you're willing to sacrifice everything to do it, then you might go less personal and higher volume. But if you're building a real business, if you believe in your company, if you believe you can build something that will last over time, that will create significant value, then you need to inject personalization into that outreach so that you maintain your brand value and you keep your prospect universe interested and excited in working with you. So those are some of the concepts I want you to think about when you think about personalization. Now, the second question that we often get is also about personalization. It's how. Let's say we already decided we want to do personalization. How do we do it more effectively? How do we do it more efficiently? Because we've been using these tools that allow us to just automate the crap out of outreach, but what we want to do is we want to inject more personalization. And so here's how you do it. You have to get really, really, really good at building your list quickly so that you can leave time to do your research. Now, when you're doing your research, you want to record that research in the right system that allows you to use that information on the fly. Let's talk about emails. The method of email that we subscribe to and that our most successful clients subscribe to is called the 10-80-20. What the 10-80-20 means is that for the first 10% of your email, you need to personalize it. It may be a message from somebody's LinkedIn profile that you learned. It may be something you saw about their company. It may be a hypothesis of their specific need or a relationship that you know, but you want to open with personalization so that when they see that email, they don't think a robot outreach to them. They think that a human personally engaged. Now the 80% is template. Use your template. Everybody's seen sales development templates. You can find them on the internet. And then the last piece is you want to close with something more personal as well and use this to your advantage to remind them that this wasn't an outreach robot. This was a personalized cadence. Cool. All right. So next question is, we see a lot of the sale is about the sales development market. We see a lot of sales development reps out in the marketplace today. What is the right ratio of sales development reps to account executives? This is a question that comes in all the time. What is the right ratio of sales development reps to account executives? Before I answer this, I want you to think to yourself about a few things in your sales pipeline. The first one is, how many qualified new appointments can your account executives conduct? So think about that. At SalesLoft, our account executives can conduct 3 brand new qualified appointments while also managing their pipeline, their follow-ups, and all the other activities they want to do. They can do 3 to 4 of these every single day, right? Now, our sales development reps are going to be producing somewhere around 2 qualified appointments on a daily basis, 1 to 2 qualified appointments on a daily basis. So what this means is that we need more sales development reps than we have account executives. And the way we've done the math is that we need 3 sales development reps for every 2 account executives based solely upon the number of qualified brand new appointments our account executives can conduct every single day. That's the important piece here, because you want your account executives to have as many qualified opportunities as they can possibly fit in. If you find that they've got a bunch of free time, then they're going to be wasting it doing non-revenue producing activities, whereas you want them focused on the meat of the opportunity. You want them focused on closing deals. And so you use your lower cost resource, your sales development reps, to set the appointments so the account executives can close them. Awesome. I'm wrapping up on time here. Super excited to spend this moment with you. If you're here today and you sat through this conversation, it means you're the top 1% of folks who are pushing the envelope out there, ready to make it happen. And I know you could have been with anybody else today, and you chose to be with me. So I really, really appreciate that. In the bottom right-hand corner is my Twitter account, at Kyle Porter. You can also find me via email, kyle@salesloft.com. And send me a message. Let me know your thoughts on this stuff. I'd love to engage with you, maybe even have some free stuff for you. Shoot me an email, kyle@salesloft.com. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day.